Hey, are you registered to vote? There's a primary on August 23rd and the general election November 8th. Wait, come back, wait.
Did that get your attention? That video of Florida congressional candidate Ken Russell dropping low for your vote has over 7 million views on TikTok. So while a little cringy, it just might be the future of political campaign strategy. And in this election cycle, Democrats are counting on it. This week, President Biden met with 8 TikTok creators who have a combined following of over 67 million people. His goal is to get those followers to the polls and for them to vote blue in the midterms. The event was hosted by the DNC, and they did not hold back when it came to wooing their direct line to Gen Z. The creators toured the U.S. Capitol, the Supreme Court, and met with former President Barack Obama. They were swarmed by so many young fans at a D.C. pizza restaurant that the staff had to clear part of it out. Talk about popularity and the influence that comes with it. In 2022, TikTok was the most downloaded app in the world, and that has other Democratic candidates jumping at the chance to go viral. Videos like this one from John Fetterman targeting opponent Dr. Mehmet Oz had over 3 million views.
I grew up just south of Philadelphia, went to medical school.
Cause somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
And take a look at how Maxwell Frost, a congressional candidate in Florida, used a popular TikTok meme to get Gen Z talking about gun violence legislation.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book.
Joining me now is the man who could potentially be the first Gen Z member of Congress, my friend Maxwell Frost. Maxwell, so good to see you this morning. Look, one of the influencers at that White House visit shared that she had to clarify with her younger following that she was stressed about the midterm elections and not her midterm exams. I mean, given what appears to be a lack of knowledge maybe when it comes to some civics, are Democrats using a smart strategy here by leveraging this audience with influencers?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me on. Thanks for showing one of my TikToks. I do believe it's a good strategy. And look, I mean, breaking news, I grew up as a band nerd, and something that my band director would always say when he walked in was all the things all the time. Very annoying at the time, but growing up, and especially during this campaign, it's become the motto of our campaign. It's all the things all the time. It's mail, it's TV, it's social media, it's TikTok, it's calling, it's texting, it's everything. It's meeting people where they're at and sharing the message in different mediums and in different ways and from different people. That's how we're going to expand the electorate and win here. So I think it's a great idea.
And to your point, Maxwell, we've seen Gen Z be incredibly active and vocal on social media, particularly in times of major social disruption. For example, when Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Dobbs decision. What does that tell you about what the top issues are for Gen Z voters?
You know, it's interesting. What I've found from actually speaking with members of Gen Z and talking with people across the district is that I don't really believe our generation cares about different issues than older folks. I just think we see it through a different lens. Maybe we think of it in a different way. You know, I always think about the economy and the way students are always thinking about crushing student debt, not because we live beyond our means, but because we've been denied the means to live. And we want to talk about those root causes. We want to talk about the fact that we now live in a post-Roe society where over half of our population, women and childbearing adults, might not have access to safe and legal abortion. So for me, it's not that we care about different things than anyone. I think we really all care about the same issues, but we see it through a different lens because of the generation we've come up through.
I got to tell you, Maxwell, before I move on to the next question, I love that idea that it's not that we care about different things. We just may look at it through a different lens, which just underscores the importance of people being educated about these issues. And so that does lead me, segue to my next question to you. There's new data from the Pew Research Center that shows that nearly 30% of Americans under the age of 30 use TikTok as a news source on a regular basis. An NYU study found that of other social media platforms, TikTok ranked the worst, though, in approving false ads on its platform. So, Maxwell, in this era of disinformation, Does that concern you ahead of this election, that TikTok is such a major news source for voters under the age of 30?
Well, it doesn't concern me that people are, turning to a popular app to get their news. There's some very credible news sources that are active on TikTok. I see a few of those bite-sized news clips myself. What does concern me is that we need the platform to up its work on ensuring that false advertisement and disinformation isn't being given to young people. And we know that young people, and specifically Latinos who only speak Spanish, are the prime targets for disinformation, especially from the far right. So there's a lot of work we need to do on the technology side to ensure that we're protecting people from lies. But I don't think it's a big problem that people are turning to a popular app to figure out their news for the day. I just think it's up to us to ensure that everyone's being protected from disinformation.
Quickly, Maxwell, before I have to let you go, tell us about what you're hearing out there in the community from Gen Z voters. How's the vibe and the energy in terms of early voting?
The vibe is great, right? People are really excited to go out and vote. People know what's at stake in this election. Some statistics just came out from the Harvard Institute of Politics that show that young people intend at voting at the same levels they did the past two cycles. And the past two cycles have been the best cycles in our country's history in terms of youth voting. So what I want to tell everyone is don't shame young people into voting, inspire them into voting. That's what's going to get them to the ballot box. But what we see from the numbers is they intend on doing it anyway. So we feel really optimistic about building that youth power here in Central Florida, but also across the country.
Oh, Maxwell Frost, I always love having you on the show because you make me feel so good about what our future looks like. My friend, Maxwell Frost, thanks for getting up this morning and for actually sharing all of your information and insight with our viewers. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on. Have a great morning.
You too.